Happy Halloween, skeletons, witches, and pumpkin heads, and thank you for tuning in to the season finale of the Jony Horror Podcast. It has been a long run, but we have finally reached the end of our coverage of M. Night Shyamalan originals with our last entry and the director's first hit, The Sixth Sense. This time around, Kalen and I are joined by my old man, as the three of us have a spirited discussion of one of the horror genre's most groundbreaking, and barrier-breaking films for that matter, ever to be released. So get yourself some candy corn, set out a pumpkin to carve, light some candles, and settle in for a spooky Halloween celebration as the Jony Horror Podcast dives deep on M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a very, very special episode of the Jony Horror Podcast. First and foremost, I want to wish everyone a happy Halloween. This is going to be our Halloween episode and the concluding episode of our third season. We are wrapping up our coverage of M. Night Shyamalan. It has taken over 2 years
Over
at this
2
point.
years.
So, or just about 2 years, somewhere in that ballpark. But God damn it, we're here. We are at The Sixth Sense, and I have two gentlemen with me this evening to celebrate this momentous occasion. First and foremost, my partner in crime on the Jony Horror Podcast, my co-host with the most, a very, very handsome movie expert. Please introduce yourself and tell me, what is one of your favorite Halloween traditions?
What's up, everyone? Kalen Berriman, co-host of the podcast, resident handsome movie expert. And one of my favorite Halloween traditions used to be your Halloween parties, pal.
Yeah, back in the day when I used to have those.
Yeah, those were good. I guess now it's watching horror movies all September and October every year.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do too.
Yeah.
One of my other favorite things to do around this time of year, because this gentleman tends to come around these parts this time of year, is hang out with my old man, who is our guest this episode. Dad, say hello and tell me, do you believe in ghosts?
Okay, hello. Ghosts. Nope, I don't believe in ghosts.
No,
Not at all.
No thoughts about spirits roaming these lands, unhappy with their death, needing to find some sort of peace.
Yeah, I don't see that.
What about other dimensions? Do you think there are other dimensions where there are creatures and or spirits roaming?
I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I don't think we're ever going to see it in this dimension. I don't think they cross over.
That's fair. Kalen, what about you? You a ghost? You a believer? A ghost guy?
I used to be very like, okay, not I used to be. I don't believe in anything that I can't see or can't be proven in some observable way. Mm-hmm. I don't believe in anything like that. But I'm open-minded to the idea that there are things that we haven't observed that exist that we wouldn't be able to explain in modern context. The same way if we went back 300 years, we wouldn't be able to explain these laptops to the smartest person in the world. There are things that are far beyond how we understand things today. So, I mean, I'm open-minded to the possibility of most things, but I don't concretely believe in anything that I can't concretely see, touch, or otherwise prove or observe.
Hot damn. I don't think I could have said it better myself. I think there's the same. Yeah, there's stuff out there, but are we gonna see it?
I haven't seen it yet. So.
And most most other humans, at least as far as actual concrete proof, we haven't been able to. So, yeah, I think we're all in the same ballpark. But some stuff that we can concretely say that we've seen and heard and viewed are feature films, some of which we will discuss in our first category, the Johnny Horror News. So here at the Johnny Horror News, we give updates on horror movies, trailers, events, and more. And it's basically just an excuse for us to talk about movies before we dive into the main event. So, gentlemen, anything interesting that you've watched lately besides this movie that we're going to discuss that you want to talk about right now? Kalen.
I watched The Long Walk, which is not a horror film per se, but it is based on a Stephen King novel. It's horrible. It's horrific.
Yes.
Yeah, I watched that movie in theaters recently. And without really giving too much away, it's an excellent film. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch it again, but really impressive film to watch, and a couple of young actors to keep your eyes out for. Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid, I can't remember his name, and David
Cooper.
Johnson. What's
Cooper
that?
Hoffman. Cooper Hoffman.
Very, very impressive young man. The apple does not fall far from the tree. And David Johnson, the young man who played the android in the most recent Alien Romulus, he's absolutely terrific in this film, and it's something I'd recommend anyone to see. Yeah.
Well, I think you're in the company of two gentlemen who've actually seen it
as
well. Dad, what were your thoughts on The Long Walk?
The one thing I would say is I love seeing Mark Hamill in it. He's just like completely different than anything else you're used to seeing him in.
Yeah.
That was great. I liked the movie. Lots of blood, lots of gore, and a great story.
Yeah.
I agree with Kalen. I don't know that I'd watch it again, but I enjoyed watching it once.
Yeah, I think I would watch it again. I really enjoyed the chemistry between those two characters. Like that in and of itself was a great experience for me. I love the chemistry of those four actors in particular. The what was it? The Three Musketeers they call themselves. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. David Johnson is just, man, I can't get enough of that guy. He's kicking ass.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. What I saw the latest Conjuring movie, which was a fun time at the movies for sure. I like all the Conjuring films, varying degrees. Some are certainly better than others, but this was a good time. There was some good scary sequences. There's a sequence in a basement where a woman sees something in the dark and she's like watching it, and you can tell it's like a person who's watching her, but she like moves slowly towards the light switch and like turns it on, and then it ends up being like, I think it's like a picture of John Wayne or something like that, which I thought was pretty great. But some really cool spooky sequences, and the overall sort of like, oh yeah, with the power of Christ we defeat demons and blah blah blah, which that worked one time for me, and it was The Exorcist.
Yep. It was 1973.
Yeah. So Kalen, have you finished Alien Earth?
Oh yeah.
Without spoiling it, because I do believe my dad. You haven't started watching it yet, have you?
I haven't yet.
No. Okay. Just give a general. What were your general thoughts?
I love it. I think it takes the concepts that Alien is about, which is corporatism and a future of feudal corporate rule, the nature of consciousness and synthetic humans and artificial intelligence and artificial consciousness, and fucking scary aliens and monsters, and it blends it all into a very interesting, cohesive story that still manages to have an actual personal, emotional story at its core. So I think Alien Earth is great, and I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah. I want a whole spin-off franchise about the eye. Can we get that,
Same,
please?
brother.
Like, I don't even need the xenomorph anymore. Just give me more of the eye.
Give me
That
the eye.
thing's fucking
Hey,
terrifying.
You're gonna get more of the eye, and that eye is absolutely horrifying without saying anything. Yeah, that's gonna be. Can't wait for season 2. Can't wait.
Me too. Speaking of things that we can't wait for, Kalen, do we have anything else besides Black Phone and Frankenstein that we're super jazzed about?
I mean, those are like the way up there ones.
Mm-hmm.
But Shelby Oaks is coming out, which is the Chris Stuckman debut film, and I'm really excited about Shelby Oaks. It's getting very strong reviews. It came out of Fantastic Fest recently again. It's its second debut, and it's getting good reviews again. What else? Dust Bunny from Brian Fuller, which is the one I think I sent you the trailer.
Yeah,
that one's getting really strong reviews, and it's sort of like an Amblin style horror for the whole family kind of movie. Is what I'm hearing, and I'm really excited about that. Mads Mikkelsen, Sigourney Weaver. I mean, some real legends there. So
yeah.
I mean, Frankenstein and the Black Phone 2 are the ones that I really can't wait for. Now, Predator Badlands.
Yeah.
That's more sci-fi adventure, it looks like, than
for sure. But I mean, this section we just talk about I'm cool with talking about any movies that
okay. Well, in that case, for me, Wicked for Good also is a big one.
Yeah. I sent you the trailer for that Matt Damon, Ben Affleck one that I thought looked really cool.
Yeah, it does. It looks really cool.
Dad, any movies that I know you're not like super duper like down, have your ear to the ground with like movies that are coming out, but is there anything that you maybe want to watch or rewatch, or anything that's been on your watch list for a minute that you haven't gotten around to?
Well, obviously, Alien Earth, something I want to see. I'm not really a movie guy. Sorry to say. The last movie I saw was F1.
Which one was it?
F1.
Oh, dude, I loved F1.
Yeah.
F1 was like one of my I don't know, with the exception of Sinners, is probably my favorite movie going experience of the year. So I had fun with that movie, man. I really like that movie.
Yeah. But I guess that's probably the only movie I've seen in 9 months, 10 months.
Wow. I feel like if there's a movie to see in theaters, that is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah.
So, there is a remake of a favorite film of mine coming up in December. Silent Night, Deadly Night. The original is a 80s slasher, and it's a Christmas movie wherein a kid whose family is murdered by a man dressed as Santa Claus, is just absolutely traumatized, and then as a young man, is forced to dress up as Santa Claus for his job, and snaps and goes on a murdering spree. And this remake is from the people who run Bloody Disgusting. They're the producers behind it, basically, and I do believe it's gotten fairly good reviews coming out of Fantastic Fest as well, I believe. So I'm really excited for that. I just can't get enough. If there's like a favorite subgenre of horror that is mine. It's holiday slashers, Christmas time, Halloween, like let's cut people up and dice them up into pieces and be festive about it. Like I'm there for it. So last year was Terrifier 3. We got a Christmas movie at Halloween time, which was fucking rad. I really don't think you can ask for a better combination, but I'm really excited for this, and it's coming out in the middle of December, so got some stuff to look forward to there for sure. But speaking of things to look forward to, I always look forward to an ice cold drink, and we're gonna find that over at Jony's Well. Gentlemen, here at Jony's Well, we're gonna talk about some booze. Kalen and I love talking about booze. We are two individuals who are passionate about the craft of making cocktails, and we're going to see how it pairs with the movie of the night, The Sixth Sense. So, gentlemen, first and foremost, what are you currently drinking, if anything at all? Dad, what do you got going on over there? You got any vodka sodas or anything? You dry right now?
I'm sad to say I've just got water.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. We're usually pretty boring ourselves these days. I've noticed. What do you got over there, K-Dog?
We got some black cherry sparkling seltzer water.
Fucking maniac. Just
I party like a rock
off the
star.
rails. Psychopath. He can't be stopped, ladies and gentlemen. I myself am enjoying an Athletic brew. Athletic is a non-alcoholic beer company. I'm trying out their Oktoberfest, and I
How
gotta
is
say
it?
it's pretty tasty. Not bad at all. I rate it a 7 out of 10. The flavor's there. I'm not like crazy Oktoberfest guy, but I thought for the sake of the time of year, I'd give it a go. So I've been enjoying those. Now, gentlemen, so one of my favorite questions to ask on this podcast: if you were planning on hosting a watch party at your house, inviting all your friends, all your pals, many friends that you both have because you guys are so popular and handsome, and you guys were going to show The Sixth Sense. Now, what drink would you pair with your watch party? Dad, you seem very confident when I was talking to you about this earlier. I am really interested to know what you're serving.
Okay. It'd have to be a Bloody Mary.
That's
because of all the red in the movie.
Yeah.
It's thematic.
Yes. I like that a lot. That is a solid answer. Kalen, what about you?
All right. Let's take a walk with me.
Okay, this is that. Just let me before he goes on his thing. His drinks are fucking ridiculous, and they will put everyone else's to shame, including mine. And I feel like I do a pretty good job. But this guy is just getting ready to wipe the floor with us. So please, sir, take her away.
I don't think the drink necessarily is going to wipe the floor with you, but the reasoning behind it I thought was kind of fun. So yes. Sorry guys, I think I just rubbed chili flakes in my eye if I'm blinking a lot. Because your man is very bright and doesn't make mistakes. Anyway,
we're in for a treat tonight, folks.
Fuck, sorry, I was eating pizza earlier. Okay, so in the movie, Cole dresses in adult clothing. Like he wears the kind of clothes that you would have seen on an old man, even in like, I don't know, I feel like in 1990 it was the way an old man dressed, right? Yeah. In 1999 when the movie came out. And he looks like he doesn't, like when you see him at a distance, he looks like a miniature man. Like he looks like a little man walking around. Mm-hmm. And I decided that had to be part of the theme of my drink. So I was like, okay, well, it has to be a variation on an old fashioned then, right? Okay. And so I was like, what's a good variation on an old fashioned for this? And I'm like, well, we're in the fall. It's the Halloween season, and we're watching this scary ghost movie. So I'm going to do a fall old fashioned. And Jony, you'll recognize this one from my Friendsgiving party a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
This is called a Jekyll and Hyde, and it's a old-fashioned variation. You're going to use 1.5 ounces of bourbon. I like to use Elijah Craig Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. You're going to use half an ounce of apple brandy. I like to use like a bonded 4-year 100 proof apple brandy. Half a teaspoon of cinnamon syrup. I make that at home. Half a teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of Demerara syrup. I also make that at home. And you just hit that with 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Stir it up, preferably on a big rock, and give it an orange peel.
I love it.
I just called it Jekyll and Hyde. We drank those at my house 2 years ago, and they were a big hit.
They were goddamn delicious, if I do say so myself. I thoroughly enjoyed those and got proper drunk off of them, I believe, if I remember correctly. Yep. I don't remember, so I must have been drunk. I love that. I love that. And you went, dude. You had all of the things this time. You had like movie vibes, and you had like the theme of like what was going on in the movie. You're taking pages out of my book now.
I'm trying, bro.
All right, so this one is just one that I was thinking about today. I was driving back and forth this afternoon, and I was thinking specifically about ghosts, and I love a classic ghost, right? I love like Scooby-Doo, someone wearing like a white sheet. Like that is my favorite type of ghost. I think that's great. So my mind was, all right, I need to come up with like a white opaque sort of drink. And so I came up with this drink and I call it the Bloody Apparition. So we're going to do 2 ounces of a silver tequila. I'm going to use El Jimador because it's my favorite tequila. Half ounce of Cointreau, half ounce of lime juice, half ounce of orgeat, which is an almond syrup, a little bit of a sweetener. And then we're going to do 1 to 2 dashes of fee foam bitters. Now, again, fee foam bitters, for those of you who haven't been keeping up with the podcast, I love this. Love this additive. It is a vegan substitute for an egg white. So basically, you add it to your drink. If you give it a dry shake, it's going to help create a layer of foam. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add all those ingredients into our mixer, give it a dry shake, then add some ice, give it a wet shake. We are going to pour it over 1 big rock. So we're going to have ourselves a nice white drink with foam on top. The white you're getting is from orgeat, which is going to be a like I said, a white opaque color. And then we are going to float just a little bit of blood orange syrup on top to give it a nice orangish, reddish drizzle. And we're getting those fall vibes, this sort of orange thing that's all over the poster. And that's essentially going to be just like a blood orange margarita for all intents and purposes, just with a little bit more festivity.
With the almond syrup though, the orgeat giving it a real different dimension though.
Yeah,
sounds excellent.
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that one. I might have to give it a try at the old, gig one of these times, see if it turns out good at all.
I think that would be pretty good.
Yeah, you're gonna have to stop by. I'll make it for you.
There you go.
Now, gentlemen, after a couple of cocktails, I find myself getting a tad bit peckish. I like a snack or two. Do we consider The Sixth Sense an eating movie? Dad, I'll ask you because we were eating pizza last night when we watched it. Did you find at all that your appetite was spoiled while watching The Sixth Sense?
No, but I knew what was coming. So the only place that I would say that I wouldn't want to eat is when the girl's vomiting.
Yeah. I think that.
But as far as the rest of the movie, no problem.
Agreed. I'm right there with you. Well, all right, gentlemen. Now that we're good and liquored up and our bellies are nice and full, we are on to the thick of it in our next category. Blah, blah, blah. You've seen it all before. What? Here in Blah, 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 you've seen it all before. We discuss the plot of the film, whether or not it's an original concept or if we've seen something like this before, and then get into the nitty gritty with the production details. Kalen, you being the resident wizard with words, that should be your handle, by the way.
All
Would
right.
you do your darndest in giving us a plot summary for The Sixth Sense?
The Sixth Sense is about a child psychologist who experiences a traumatic and tragic event involving one of his former patients, who later meets a little boy. See, this is tough. He later on meets another child who reminds him of the child in question, and he seems to believe that he can achieve some kind of redemption if he can help this troubled little boy. And that's really kind of the most you can say about this movie without spoiling it. I mean, it's about a guy trying to help a little kid, and spooky stuff ensues.
Well said. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Kalen is playing coy. We are 1000% going to spoil this movie that is 1000% already been spoiled for all of you, anyways. You all fucking know that. Here's your spoiler warning, ladies.
Spoiler warning, folks. Go watch the movie.
You all know he's dead, all right? So, I knew he was dead before I watched the movie because my mom would not let me watch this movie when it came out. So, I had to watch it like 5 years after it came out. And, I knew. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, right? We'll get into whether or not that ruined it for me. But before we get to that, gentlemen, the conceit of this film being that a child psychologist tries to help a boy who does in fact see dead people without even the twist or the reveal, as I prefer to call it. Do we find this concept original? Is this something that up to this point we'd seen done before or were familiar with? I'm asking the two of you specifically because you guys actually got to go. You guys got to. Dad, you saw this movie before it was spoiled for you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so I'm going to ask the two of you, going into this film with fresh eyes, did you find that it was an original concept?
For me, I don't really think so. It felt like it was just like another film I'd seen before. It's a ghost film. I can't tell you what film it was, but it seemed familiar.
That's
And I
fair.
like what Kalen said about it's a redemption movie. That's the whole. That's what I thought it was in the beginning.
And I mean, I guess in those terms, then if we look at it from that way, then it is we're gonna find other films that are gonna be comparative in that regard. Kalen, what about you? How old were you when you saw this movie?
I think I was 12. Yeah, I was just a kid. I can't think of anything that directly parallels this. Like that's exactly like, specifically like a child who sees dead people walking around and, a person who's specifically trying to help them. I will say that like it has echoes of even something like The Exorcist, where you had an adult trying to help a troubled child and there's something supernatural going on and everyone's trying to figure it out. So I do think I think it's a very fresh spin on a type of story that's been told before, but I do think this was a very fresh movie when it came out in 1999. I think it was a very unique thing in that way at the time. While being, as mentioned before, while being at its core, the emotional arc of the movie is actually a story of redemption. But yeah, as a ghost story, I thought it was a really fresh take on the ghost story.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've seen other movies like this before. I think, natural way that my brain thinks, if we're thinking of, somebody who's trying to find redemption and, dealing with like a youthful spirit, something like True Grit with John Wayne, or even something as more recent as Logan. I think I just lean towards westerns, but you see that a little bit more in
I
westerns.
literally had True Grit in my mind as you were saying that. Yeah.
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 So I think particularly in terms of redemption, we can see a lot of movies that kind of like another great one, elder parent and kid, Road to Perdition, one of my personal favorites, but you can kind of see those. It does kind of, it seems like anytime you pair an adult with a child in these sort of adult movies, there's an adult who's trying to make up for something that they've done in the past, and they manage to do that through this youth. So, with all that said, let's dive into the production. The Sixth Sense was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, stars Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment, and was produced by...
Wasn't it Frank Marshall and Kathy Kennedy?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Under a sub company of Disney, basically. The two studios that produced it, now I apologize, they escape me. But they have since gone out of business. But
Wasn't it Buena Vista and Searchlight?
I think that is pretty close. Yeah, pretty spot on.
It was definitely Searchlight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and Buena Vista was definitely a Disney company.
Yeah.
So M. Night Shyamalan said that the first draft of The Sixth Sense was everything that he feared, complete with cliche dialogue, bad one-liners, and familiar arcs. The original storyline followed a serial killer and was loosely inspired by films like Silence of the Lambs. Shyamalan said that he threw the first two drafts of the script away, considering them to be derivative. He said that the breakthrough came about on the third or fourth draft when he decided that the person seeing the ghost should be a hyper-compassionate child, and worked from there. He stated that some of the best lines he wrote for the character didn't even end up in the final draft of the script, but that he committed to the idea of making a good movie above all else. I want to stop right there. I apologize. I feel like I'm getting a weird echo. Kalen, given the history of all the films that we've covered of M. Night Shyamalan up to this point, do you think that he has still had that mindset of making a good film above all else?
No.
No, I agree.
No. I think now he sets out to do a type of thing, and then he does the type of thing he wanted. I don't think he puts quality of the final picture, no matter what it is, above all else anymore. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. And with that goal in mind of making something truly unique, he found himself thinking, what could push it over the top? And that's when he had the idea for the ending. When he thought of the film's finale, in his words, that changed everything. He compared the film's ending to having Michael Jordan waiting there ready to sink the last basket. He said with that finale in mind, he felt like he couldn't lose, and that everything he wrote in the lead up to the film's final moments only made the rest of the film stronger. I loved hearing that when he talked about that, just that expression of saying that he felt like he had Michael Jordan just like waiting in the wings. I was like, yeah, obviously, like when you come up with that, I pose the question to either of you. Like, if you were going to come up with that ending, would you not just feel like you were like on cloud nine to come up with something that great?
Absolutely. I mean, like he says, he can't lose.
Yeah.
You know, and that's exactly, if you had Michael Jordan, you know you can't lose.
Yeah.
I,
you're a baseball guy or basketball guy, excuse me.
I am. Like, what sport does Michael Jordan play? I don't know. Football?
He did both.
He did do baseball for a
No,
little while.
baseball.
He wasn't so great at baseball, but yeah, he did do it. He was better than I would be. If I came up with this ending, you'd probably hear me laugh like I just laughed. You'd probably hear me audibly laugh at my keyboard if I came up with that ending. I'd be like, oh, fuck. I got it. Yeah. I definitely understand the confidence he's going into this with. Because you know how it is, like when you're writing a story, you're kind of finding the story. Mm-hmm. You're kind of uncovering something. You know what I mean? It almost feels separate from yourself. And it's like when you find it, when you nail it, when you know what it is, because you don't actually know how good what you're writing is until you kind of figure out what the thrust of it and what the conclusion of it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's like writing this and then getting that and being like, oh shit, I just wrote one of the best things I'm ever going to write. Like,
and yeah. I we'll get to that too a little bit later on. So at the time, Walt Disney Studios president David E. Vogel paid $2.25 million for the rights to The Sixth Sense without his boss's blessing, and a pay or play option for M. Night Shyamalan to direct. Otherwise, New Line Pictures almost certainly would have scooped up the spec script. Vogel's superiors were angry because the film's budget grew exponentially after Bruce Willis agreed to be the lead, and because Vogel purchased the project without prior authorization. This guy just did it without getting the green light from anybody. But so would any one of us if we had read the script. When they learned they couldn't dismiss Shyamalan as director because of their contractual obligation, Disney CEO Michael Eisner installed one of his lieutenants, Peter Schneider, to the live action division to diminish Vogel's oversight and ultimately force him out. David Vogel left Disney 2 weeks later, while The Sixth Sense was still in production. A few days later, he received a phone call from Michael Eisner, who only laughed at Vogel's parting words. I've left you with one of Disney's biggest pictures, The Sixth Sense. Then he hung up. This guy, we're going to talk about how well this movie very much did for Disney. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Obviously, we all know that Vogel made the right call, but Disney being pissed off about this new director just having essentially final cut, basically, which you just don't get. And him being in the director's chair for this movie that I do believe the budget was somewhere between 35 and 40 million. So thoughts on any of that, gentlemen?
I mean, you say you don't get any of that, but it depends on who you are and what you have, right? So like Zach Kreger just got a $10 million paycheck and final cut on his second ever movie.
Yeah.
Because of the success of his first movie, but also, and I would say almost primarily because of the strength of his scripts. Like you can read it on the page and you know this guy has got it. Like he's that dude, right? Yeah. So this guy read this script, and as far as I'm concerned, he did his job. His job is to identify and greenlight movies that are going to be profitable for the company. Like that's his duty in his employment. And so as far as I'm concerned, he literally just did his job. He was like, this is a great movie and we are going to get this, and we're going to succeed with it. And he was 1,000% right about that. It's like he got fired for. It's like getting cut from the team for making the winning play. You know what I mean? It's like I just hit the winning shot, and then I got cut from the team. Like, wait, what? Like, yeah. That's insane to me. And I don't know how his career went after that, but I certainly hope he got credit somewhere for what he did and was able to cash in on his winning move there.
We're not really going to dive too much into that later on, but I did find out that he did not really do well in the business after that. And I think he essentially pretty much ended up leaving the movie business a little while after all of this. But
that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost like there's like this lack of communication, because if he believed so much in this movie, he should have communicated that to Eisner and told him, this is why I did it.
I mean, I imagine that conversation probably took place at some point. I mean, it's not here in the notes or any of the research that I found specifically, but I imagine that, you know, it wasn't but you know, again, like Kalen said, he probably didn't even think anything of it at the time. He was just like, dude, this is a win. This is this fucking script. Let's go.
Right.
But yeah, you know, people who are in charge, like the tippity top, they don't like it when people underneath them think that they can make decisions. They just don't like that, you know?
Well, this is also why you get like certain studios doing better when the guys at the top who are actually just like suits, they're business guys, they're bean counters, right? Yeah. When those guys recognize that they're not artists and they put creatives in charge of creative, they do better. So like when Bob Iger came into Disney, he set the rule that like creatives will be in charge of creative. Yeah. And then Disney flourished in a way that it had not ever in a very long time. Or like recently, like this year, Warner Brothers had a massive string of hits. David Zaslav, say whatever you want about him, and he's not my favorite person, but he put creatives in charge of Warner Brothers Pictures and all of their divisions. And they have like 8 straight hits now that he did that. Yeah. So seems like maybe Hollywood's learned the lesson on the business guys thinking they know better about creative than the creatives.
Well, at least for now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, The Sixth Sense was the first of 2 movies that Bruce Willis owed Disney after he shut down another production, the Broadway Brawler. Tales of Willis's difficult nature as an actor are legendary in Hollywood, such as his drama with Kevin Smith. What is that movie that he did with Kevin Smith? The Cops movie? I don't remember what it's called. However, according to IMDb, on the set of the Broadway Brawler, he ended the movie for good after firing the director. As part of his Disney contract, he was signed on to The Sixth Sense and another less successful movie in 2000 called The Kid. I was allowed to watch that one. Another thing Willis had to sacrifice along with his freedom to choose projects was his usual salary. He was paid a measly $10 million for The Sixth Sense, half of his usual salary at the time. God. Yeah, it's just fucking $10 million. Are you kidding me? What is this chicken shit? Get out of here. Several notable young actors auditioned for the role of Cole, Michael Cera being one of them. Do we see Michael Cera in this role at all?
I'm sure he would have done like, you know, I'm sure he would have been okay.
Yeah, the guy can act, but I don't know if we're getting the same nuance.
Nobody could have done what this kid did.
Yeah.
I agree. M. Night Shyamalan was initially hesitant after seeing a video audition of Haley Joel Osment, thinking the character required a darker, more withdrawn personality. But after a sit-down discussion with the young actor, Shyamalan not only came to terms with Osment's range as a performer, but was informed by Haley Joel that he had read the script 3 times. Upon hearing this, the director remarked, "Wow, you've read your part 3 times." And then Osmond corrected him, saying, "No, I've read the script 3 times. Bitch."
Precocious young man.
Indeed. Filming took place mostly in the streets of Philadelphia during the fall of 1998. Locations included St. Augustine's Church on 4th and New Streets in Old City and St. Alban Street in Southwest Center City. New Streets in Old City just sounds like it should be the name of like a Huey Lewis and the News album. I don't know. This is the start, I believe, of Shyamalan doing all of his pictures in Philadelphia, unless, again, we haven't seen his very, very first picture that he did. Neither Kalen nor I have seen that, but I imagine there's a good chance that that one took place in Philadelphia too. Man loves the city. What are you going to do? Bruce Willis, a natural lefty, learned to write with his right hand for the part of Malcolm Crowe as to keep his ring finger out of view to better sell the ending's major reveal. I found that pretty interesting. I've tried to learn to write with my left hand. It is not an easy thing. Are either one of you ambidextrous?
I'm kind of ambidextrous. I was born left-handed. Got switched.
Was that back when the nuns were beating it out of you?
Well, my mom beat it out of me, but the nuns helped.
Right. It's a group effort.
I have been told that I initially naturally gravitated towards my left hand. I've been told that. Like as a little boy, I tried to do things left-handed and was told to do them right-handed.
Is there why is that? Is that just because it's so much easier to do things right-handed? Is that why people forced us out of that sort of thing?
No, I think it was nonsensical tribal knowledge about doing it left-handed was wrong and doing it right-handed was right. Because most people aren't naturally right-handed, like 90+% of people.
Yeah.
So just like, hey, you're doing it the wrong way. Like, stop that.
Terrible. But I thought that was a pretty dope ass thing to be like, yeah, I'm gonna commit to the part, and not even like not even using like a hand double or anything like that. You know, like actually committing to learning how to use your less dominant hand. The color red is absent from most of the film, but it is used predominantly in a few isolated shots for anything in the real world that has been tainted by the other world, and to bring about really explosively emotional moments and situations. Examples include the door of the church where Cole seeks sanctuary, the balloon at the birthday party, carpet and Cole's sweater, the tent in which he first encounters Kira, the volume numbers on Crow's tape recorder, the knob on the locked basement door where Malcolm's office is located, the shirt that Anna wears at the restaurant, Kira's mother's dress at the wake, and the shawl wrapped around the sleeping Anna. So, Dad, you were right on the money with your Bloody Mary. All of the clothes Malcolm wears in the film are items he wore or touched the evening before his death, including his overcoat, the blue rowing sweatshirt, and the different layers of his suit. Though the filmmakers were careful about giving clues to Malcolm's true state, there were several layered in. For example, the camera zooms slowly toward his face when Cole says, "I see dead people." The filmmakers initially feared that this would be too much of a giveaway, but left it in after test audiences were still surprised by the film's climax after seeing the scene played out. Did either one of you guess that he was dead when the camera slowly zoomed in?
No, I missed it completely.
No. I will say though, watching it this time, like when he says, "I see dead people," they don't know they're dead and they can't see each other as it pans into his face. I'm like, that, like, they were trying to give it away there, but no, I didn't catch it.
And in the moment, like if you think about it as a filmmaker, when you have two people having that intimate of a discussion, it's kind of natural to have the person who's being told the secret to push in on them, whether you're trying to tell a secret or not. I think that's a very natural thing to do. So I don't think that, at least for the average viewer, that they're going to think anything of it, because they've probably seen stuff like that done in previous films, you know?
But he specifies that they don't know that they're dead. They can't see each other, and they see what they want to see. There was no reason to specify all of those things in that shot.
No.
That's why it's a giveaway. The shot itself isn't the giveaway. It's saying all of those things in that shot together is like, oh, there that was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought about that, like watching it this time, like all those things delivered. I didn't remember him saying that, oh yeah, they can't see each other. I was like, oh, that's a clue. That's a big ass fucking clue right there.
It's a huge clue. They don't know they're dead, and they can't see each other.
And they see what they want to see.
They want to see.
Filming wrapped on November 13th, 1998, after a 2-month production, yet wouldn't be released. The film would not be released for almost a whole year later, in August of 1999. Man, like post-production just used to take so much more time. And they didn't even have like a shit ton of visual effects in this. Like I think all those motherfuckers over at Marvel would kill to have like a year-long post-production. Those poor bastards just getting grinded for all those CGI things that they have to do.
Even then, sometimes you do have a year of post-production, and they're still like getting crunched at the end.
Yeah.
To get it all done, because it's so much to do. It's kind of funny to think that like movies used to wrap photography, and sometimes the movie would be out in like 4 months. Like, wait, how? And it's because they didn't have all that.
Yeah.
Post was a different story back then. Yeah.
It really was. I feel like there was another movie of his, or a couple of movies of his, that have had really lengthy post productions, and it's just like, oh, okay, cool. I feel like Unbreakable was like that too. Like I feel like it still took a while to get put out. That is the production of the film. Again, the actual filming stuff, as tends to be with Shyamalan films, sounds like it went pretty smoothly. Couple of fun anecdotes about, Haley Joel Osment thinking that like the hardest scene for him was filming that final scene in the car. I think they did 7, whole takes of it, and wasn't sure that they got it. And I think, just for my part, that's one of the most powerful scenes in the movie. So I definitely think that they got it. Haley Joel also said that Bruce Willis was really kind to him and would reach out and keep up with him over the years and stuff like that. I guess he said he would like come home from school and just have messages on the answering machine of Bruce Willis just being like, hey, I just want to say hi, see how you're doing, sort of a thing. That seemed pretty cool. But anywho, speaking of pretty cool stuff, I think we are on to our next category, the good stuff. Here at The Good Stuff, we talk about the things we liked in the movie. So, Dad, you being the guest, please tell me something that you liked about The Sixth Sense.
Well, obviously, I like the twist. I mean, that's the Michael Jordan moment.
Mm-hmm.
I did like, although it reminded me of something. I loved when they showed the people in the school were hanging.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I liked it was because I worked in this place, and it was we call it a cable vault, and everybody said this cable vault was haunted, and so a lot of times I'd work nights, and I'd walk into this place about 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, really tired, and always thinking, I'm going to see something. I'm going to see something just like that. And when I saw it in the movie, I thought that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, that's creepy. I like that. I mean, I feel like we've all had that. I was think I was talking to Kalen about this. We watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 last month, and while that movie is not great, it does have its moments. And there's this moment of one of the characters looking out the window and just seeing just the smallest part of Freddy's silhouette out in the bushes. And I told Kalen, I was like, yeah, I remember seeing this when I first worked at Starbucks, and then I would wake up at 3:30 in the morning to go open the shop at 4 o'clock, and I would always like kind of look out my window first thing when I woke up, and it was dark outside and there was a bush outside, and I always imagined seeing that silhouette just outside my window. It's funny how our brain can just take something and run with it to the nth degree, you know? Kalen, what's something that you like about The Sixth Sense?
There's a lot. I will start with well, I want to make one quick point. I think that the ending of this movie being the Michael Jordan moment, I think that's very true, and I think it's very apt. But I have another analogy I'd like to make that I think actually gives it even greater context. I remember people debating the greatness of the Chicago Bulls coach, Phil Jackson. He's also the Lakers coach, saying, well, his triangle offense isn't that good because at the end of games, he just clears out a side and gets the ball to Michael Jordan, or he clears out a side and gets the ball to Kobe Bryant. So, like, why is triangle offense so good? And I'd say, well, because that's the end of the game. That's the last shot. You have, 4 quarters of basketball you have to play up into that point, and you have to run a good system the whole time. You can't just pass the ball to one guy. And so everyone remembers the game-winning shot, but nobody remembers that it takes, 4 quarters of fundamentally solid basketball to get to that great shot. This movie is a victim of its own success because the only thing anyone talks about is the ending.
Mm-hmm.
And how it was this huge twist and the greatest twist ending of all time and all these things. And I don't think that that's necessarily wrong, but I was watching this movie yesterday and I hadn't watched it in probably more than 10 years. I hadn't watched it. And from very early in the movie, I'm like, this movie is fucking phenomenal all the way through. And we'll really only talk about the ending, but this movie is all killer, no filler. And that said, my first good is Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's incredible.
That's my second one on there.
Well, let's talk about it. He's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got 5 minutes of screen time, and my God, does he make the most out of that 5 minutes?
Yeah. It's phenomenal. I'm like, where did he go as an actor? Like, why didn't he have a career? Like, he's so clearly so talented. And the way that scene is written, when he says, do you know why you're afraid when you're alone? I do. The performance is not only incredible, but just the way that line is written, I was pissed off that I didn't get it. I was like, it's so good. It's so simple, so profound. It's so good.
I couldn't agree more. I think about that scene a lot when I think about this movie. Actually, I probably think about that scene just as much, if not more, than the final scene when I think about this movie, because it's a profoundly disturbing scene on many levels. Not only are you alone with your better half in the comfort of your home, then you realize that someone's intruded and this person is naked and they are clearly disturbed, and then the realization that it was somebody that you tried to help and you couldn't help them, and then here they are. I thought he had a gun in his hand the whole time. I didn't realize, like, in my thinking about the scene, and then watching it again last night, I didn't realize that there's just no hesitation. He grabs the gun. He's not pointing at it at him, like
No.
threatening him at all. When he grabs the gun, it's to use it. And my God, does he use it? How quickly he turns it on himself is fucking disturbing too. Wahlberg lost 45 pounds for this role. Like everything that I was reading about in the little bit of the documentary that I was watching today, they were just talking about, like, it was insane the dedication he brought for what is essentially 5 minutes or
5
less
minutes of screen time. Yeah. The way like in the beginning, the way the scene is directed too, like they're coming into the house, they're happy, he won an award, they're both drunk, they're making little jokes, he's talking like Dr. Seuss, and they're like stripping down and being very silly with each other, and it's this very like loquacious scene, and then it changes on a dime when you see the broken glass, and you just go from like levity to terror in like no time at all. And then there's just this skinny guy in the bathroom, and he's just like, his performance is mesmerizing. Yeah, it's just awesome. This movie opens so strong.
That's the first good I had, was the Dr. Seuss bit, and this kind of goes hand in hand with what you and I have discussed this whole season, which is when M. Night is on it with his writing, and I can honestly say I don't necessarily think he has been with a lot of his more recent movies. Kind of what we talked about earlier with him, maybe putting the cart before the horse and doing a shtick rather than nose to the grindstone, make the best movie I can. But that Dr. Seuss dialogue is so great because it's something that we as viewers are all very aware of. Everyone knows Dr. Seuss, and we know exactly what she's getting at when she says that to him. So we're drawn in. We're drawn in right there. That's a relatable moment. And then they're being cute together, and he keeps doing it. And it's this very believable dialogue of two people who are clearly in love with each other, having fun with each other, really enjoying this. And that's very much what you said, Kalen, that it reels us into this, it lulls us in rather to this sense of comfort, and then on a dime flips us over.
Yep.
And now we're in this icy terrain, unprepared, because we were just
in
that
such
everything was going to be okay.
Yep.
And dude, it's his writing in this movie. You said it, dude. Like, everyone just thinks about the ending, but that ending does not work if the rest of the movie is not as well written and constructed as it is. The breadcrumbs that he lays with every single scene, and his scenes are written, god damn, they are written really fucking good in this movie, man. I believe him when he said that he wanted to make the best movie he can make, because when I was watching it last night, I was like, dude, where has this guy been, man?
I know. I was thinking that too, man. It's like, holy shit.
Fuck. I mean, we'll keep on talking about it, but like, I have written here in quotations, this is like one of those breadcrumbs. When Cole first meets Malcolm, as he's leaving, he says, "I'm gonna see you again," right? And the way he says it is almost, we're led to believe he's not looking forward to it because he's having a conversation with a doctor, and him and Malcolm talks to him about why he might not trust a doctor because of what his mother went through with the divorce. But when I was watching it this time, I was like, I don't know if Cole necessarily knows he's a ghost, but he thinks he might be a ghost with that line. And then at the very end of the movie, the last time Cole and Malcolm share a scene, he says, "I'm not going to see you anymore, am I?" Because whether Cole really knows it or not that Malcolm's a ghost, I think he subconsciously knows that he's helped Malcolm do the thing that's going to send him away, basically. And at that right there, I'm like, fuck, that little bit of dialogue is so perfect because it tells you everything and nothing. It makes you think you know.
But Jony, listen to what you just said. We don't know if Cole knows whether he's dead or he's actually there as a practicing psychologist. We don't know the answer, and the movie works equally fucking well either way.
Yeah.
Writing a good story is so hard. Making a good movie is so hard. And he managed to do one where either thing can be true and it doesn't affect the quality of the film. And leaving it ambiguous probably makes it even better. But either thing could be true and it works the same way.
Yeah.
Come on. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I'm so jealous of that. Yeah.
Dad, any thoughts on the script? Any thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan's writing? Or if you just want to dive ahead and tell us more stuff you liked about the movie?
Well, I think when in the middle of the movie, when it seems like Malcolm's still alive and him and his wife aren't talking, I mean, that's so relatable in a marriage, because I think everybody's gone through this issue of you don't have anything to say to each other because you don't want to get in a fight, or you know something's wrong, but you don't want to face up to it. So I really appreciated that. It lent more to the believability of the guy's still alive, and they're just trying to recover from getting shot at.
Yeah, that again, that's one of the things that when I think about this movie, I think about those scenes too, and I think about how masterfully they're constructed because again, like in retrospect, you're like, oh, duh, but when you're watching it, you're like, oh, that. I think even me going into it, knowing that he was dead, those scenes still really work for me. They really, really work for me.
Yeah.
And if you play it too strong in one way, you sink the ship, It's a very fine balance to not go overboard with it. I agree. Those scenes work really well and lend itself to the believability of the whole thing.
Well, you said it. You totally believe. You're saying it's like they're just recovering from this attack, right? Like that's what it feels like. Like they went through this traumatic thing, and they're both kind of like messed up in the wake of that, and their relationship hasn't quite worked since. That totally feels. Again, rewatching it, knowing the ending, that still feels totally plausible when you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like she's mad at him because one of his patients came in and shot them, and like what? Like, why did you choose to live this life? Like, you got shot. Like, this guy blew his head off in our bathroom.
And
We're both all fucked up about this.
Not only that, him going back into the field to go help a kid,
and then she's not talking to him.
Yeah, exactly.
It totally works. Yeah.
Kalen, what else? What else you got for me? I know you got more stuff.
I got a lot, bro. We're not going to be able to get to everything I've written down here. I have here just thinking about the introduction of the character of Cole. We see him coming out of the house and putting on these big ass like 70s style eyeglasses, and then we go into that church scene, and the way they introduce him, he, like I mentioned it earlier, like he's wearing like those little man clothes. He looks like a little man. They probably got the cutest little boy of that age that they could have possibly gotten. And he also happens to probably be the best actor that age that was walking the planet at the time. I love his introduction. I love when he follows him into the church and he's asking him about his toys. And one of them speaks Latin, and he's like, "Oh, all your toys speak Latin?" And he's like, "Just the one."
Mm-hmm.
And he asks him about his dad's glasses, and there's that instant chemistry between Malcolm and Cole. I love that introduction. I love that first sort of meetup that they have as characters, their introduction to each other. And I think that you can tell almost right off the bat that this young man, this child really is going to give you an absurd performance in the movie. Like, I think he telegraphs it very early.
I was watching it last night thinking, I just can't believe how good of a performance he's giving. And this kid was nominated for an Oscar for this role, and
he deserved it.
He should have won.
He should have won. Yeah, he
The
deserved to win.
the emotions that he goes through. Not only is he sullen and reserved, but then there's moments when he's genuinely happy, and how he talks to his mom is very believable. I believe that he loves and adores his mom, and is very hurt after the dinner table scene when she's accusing him of stealing the pendant. And when he goes to her and says, "Can I sleep with you tonight if you're not too mad at me?" Like, that broke my fucking heart. Um, he's so fucking good. And again, going back to the writing, the writing is so good. You and I discussed how frustrated I was with M. Night's writing of the kid in Old, and how I was like, just children don't say these words. 6-year-olds don't say things like this. And yet here we are, and all the dialogue that Cole delivers sounds real. It doesn't sound like it's coming from Mary Kate and Ashley's in Full House and shit like that. It sounds like a little boy who's dealing with these very adult things and doesn't know how to process it. Phenomenal performance from
Well,
Haley Joel Osment.
and since you brought up that scene, I just want to point out too, there's so many scenes in this movie where the kid he's displaying the kind of emotional range that you don't expect a child that age to be able to access at all, let alone as well as he is.
Yeah.
But in that scene where his mom is mad at him about the pendant, his mannerisms are real deal, like uncomfortable little boy who's in trouble and doesn't want to talk about it mannerisms.
Yes.
Like, he squirms like an 8-year-old boy who's in trouble. And like, so believably, in the same performance where he's showing all of this depth and all of this emotion and giving this very adult performance, he suddenly is like very much just an 8-year-old boy again in that scene. And it only accentuates how strong the rest of it is, that he can also fall right back into that and just, yeah, absurd.
Agreed. I just have here, can you imagine if a teacher called a kid in class a freak today? It's like, oh man, the teacher would be sent to the principal's office, I think. Yeah, I got a kick out of that. The I see dead people scene is so fucking good. It's so good. And what I realized upon this watch was that we don't see the dead people until after that scene.
If you go into this movie blind, you don't even know the movie's about that until after the scene. And you might not even know in that scene if he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the little bit of him going up to the door at the party, the little nook up there. We hear voices, but that doesn't necessarily mean that
That could be schizophrenia.
Is going on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was really again, just really well handled. Like, I did not remember that being the case. And at that stage in the game, we're like halfway through the movie, dude.
Mhm.
That's, I mean, that's a great slow burn because you're not bored by it. You're very intrigued. And then the reveal is worth the wait. And seeing the two of them, I mean, that line, "I see dead people," is beyond iconic. It transcended film. It went into the social zeitgeist. It took over the world. They were making T-shirts and bumper stickers and shit like that. You knew what it meant, even if you
People
hadn't
still
seen the
say it.
movie. Yes.
Or people say, "I see dumb people. They're everywhere."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we can all probably agree with that right about now. We're not gonna dive into that.
No.
But yeah, man, that fucking I love that. Whether or not they thought they were telegraphing the end, I love that push onto to Bruce Willis when Cole is saying those lines. It sends a chill up my spine because Malcolm doesn't know if he believes the kid yet, but he is shook by how much that kid believes it. And you see it in the performance there. Um, what else we got, boys? Either one of you, just free for all. Let's talk some more good stuff.
For me, the car where Cole talks to his mom about how his grandmother watched her dance. For me, that is like so heartwarming because that's the thing that I think every child wants this to get from their parent.
Yeah, 1000%. I couldn't remember if how he reconciles with his mom. I didn't remember that, and still couldn't remember even as the scene was playing out. I was like, how is she gonna believe this? How is she not gonna think he's crazy? And then that whole scene played out, and it just caught me off guard. I think this is the third time I think I've seen this movie, and every time it does just kind of get me choked up. I I agree. I had this and the dinner table scene written in my good notes. Just watching Tony Collette and Haley Joel Osment work off of each other is a fucking treat. They were both nominated for Oscars, and I don't think it's hard to see why. And that scene in the car is just emotionally powerful, to say the least. I think. Kalen, you have any thoughts on that scene in particular?
1000%. So it's like the I use this expression and I feel bad for always explaining it, but the moment of atonement, the moment of becoming whole for our protagonist in this movie is sort of the scene preceding this with regards to going to the wake, and then this reconciliation with his mother. This is his emotional climax of the film and his coming back into himself, and then obviously into the play, right? But in this scene, confesses to his mother that there's a dead woman standing outside of his window, says, grandma says she's sorry for taking the pendant. His mom's very upset, right, for him saying that. And that's when he goes into the story and goes, she said she saw you dance. And Toni Collette, the way she starts to break down emotionally as he continues information, and it kind of starts to break down, she starts to realize that he's telling the truth, is unbelievably impressive. Like the way she like gets more and more emotional in a very believable way. If you've ever seen someone break down with emotion on that level, it's super believable. And then he says, you went to see her where she's buried and you asked her a question, and she says the answer is every day. What was the question, Mom? And Toni Collette says through, choked back tears, do I make her proud? What a great scene, man. what a great scene. What a performance by both those actors. And yeah, definitely tugs at the heartstrings and hits you emotionally in a big way, that scene. But both of them are just so phenomenal. Toni Collette took almost 20 years after this to really get her flowers for how talented she really is. It took her forever to get recognized. But this movie really showed it. And that scene in particular, it's excellent.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great showcase for what would eventually become one of our most heralded actors working today, particularly in this genre. And I mean, if you've ever seen The United States of Tara, where she plays a person with multiple personalities, you can just see this woman's range on display. Fantastic show, and she's just so fucking good at it. And I mean, we don't even like the fact that she was nominated for this one, but she wasn't nominated for Hereditary, which I still think is one of the.
She should have won.
Yeah,
she should have won for Hereditary. I'm sorry.
Yeah, one of the greatest sins the Academy ever committed, as far as I'm concerned. So, what else? What else do we have, gentlemen? I think obviously we've talked about how great that twist ending is. Do we want to elaborate on that a little bit? Maybe some of the finer details. Kalen, any thoughts on that?
Well, what I had to really say about the ending was I spent the whole movie going like, damn, this movie is so much more than just the ending. Like the whole movie, I'm just going like, God, this movie's good. God, this movie's good. Like the whole way through, so impressed. And then when we got to the ending, it was still completely chilling.
Yeah.
Like it chilled me to the core. The moment of revelation where he understands that he's dead, it still hit me really hard. And I didn't think it would because I fucking know that he's dead. Yeah. And also I'm watching it with Sandy, and she has seen this film. She knows how it ends. But it had been a long time. She thought that somewhere in the movie, somewhere else we see him die and we find out he's dead, and then we see him have the moment of revelation. So when we actually got to the moment of revelation, she was shocked that he had actually been killed at the beginning of the movie, and she hadn't remembered that he's dead all the way through from there. So she was it was almost like watching her experience this movie for the first time again, and she was blown away. And yeah, really affecting. It's when his wife drops the ring, right? That's the yeah.
It's a great bet, man. It's really good. Yeah. I love that ring drop. And him. There's another really great bit where his wife is kind of maybe seeing another guy, and I think it's a little bit more of a rebound thing than anything. Her just trying to find some emotional support because she's very, very clearly struggling with roughly the 1 year anniversary of her husband's death, somewhere in there. It says it's been next fall, so maybe it's even less than a year since he's died. But they did just have their wedding anniversary, that dinner that he catches up with her at, and Malcolm breaks a window, and everyone comes outside to see, and they don't see Malcolm, but the window's still broken. And as he's moving away, he's holding his hand right near his waist where he was shot. I thought that was a really fine detail, because at the end of the movie where we see where he was shot, we don't see the blood come up front, we see it from the back, and that the reveal that he does have his wound like all these other ghosts do. It's just been from his backside. I thought, again, just really, really smart stuff, really well thought out. This is one of those movies where like I'm watching it trying to not intentionally trying to poke holes in it, but I'm just looking to see if after all these years, you can see through the seams, and you really can't, man. This is
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
well-rounded picture. Any other last good thoughts? I feel like we could be here all night, and we do need to kind of get the ball rolling. Any final thoughts on the good stuff before we head on out?
For me, like the ring drop, it's that what the fuck moment, like
Yeah.
at the end of the movie, but like in the Matrix, in the beginning of the movie, where you're watching Carrie Moss, and you're trying to figure out what the hell is going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, just for a second.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm incredibly envious of both of you guys having been able to see the movie without prior knowledge of what was going to take place at the end of the film. Um, what was that experience? Can either of you recall like your feelings during that revelation?
So, dude, I was 12. I may have had it spoiled for me
Yeah.
because I didn't see it opening weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people did. So I don't really recall that the first experience very well.
Yeah.
My better formed memories are watching this movie, I think like the following year, the year after that, at home. So I can't speak to that well enough, I don't think.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I saw it, I had no idea. I was totally blindsided. And right after I watched it, I wanted to watch it again, right? Just to see how it all came together. And I think I probably watched it maybe a day later, 2 days later.
Lucky.
I know. I have one other scene I want to call out.
Please.
When he first sees the little girl who was poisoned by her mother,
Yeah.
she is initially this terrifying specter,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a scary scene, and it's so well directed. The way he runs out of his fort and it falls down around her, and it's like she's this terrifying ghost, right? And then Cole like thinks about it for a second, is like, well, wait a minute, like that was a little girl, like maybe I can talk to her, you know what I mean? And he
Mhm.
goes over and we're not shown it, but we realize that he actually communicates with this ghost and helps her, right? And
Mhm.
sort of discovers his way out, right? That's like sort of his journey out of the hell that he's in, is that he can communicate with these ghosts as people, and he can help them now because he's more secure in himself and in what's happening. But the way that scene is directed is so terrifying, and the way that he just kind of changes his mind, and then it turns from terrifying to like him being like compassionate. I thought it was just indicative of how brilliant this era of Shyamalan he really was.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a standout scene for me in a movie full of standout scenes.
I mean, that really is the thing at the end of the day, is the thing that I said at the start of this section, and that I found myself just thinking again and again and again, was there's not a weak link in this script, in this film. Every scene feels like it has purpose, and it's building to the next. Again, what we talked about during Old, with how things just happen, and there's not a thing that leads to the other thing. It's just a thing that happens, and then there's another thing that happens, and then there's another thing that happens, as opposed to this scene happens which leads to this, and this scene happens which leads to this. And it's just so masterfully orchestrated from top to bottom that you do find yourself going, oh, I understand a little bit of some of these critics who have called out Shyamalan for X, Y, or Z in the last couple of years.
Right.
And, when you go back to this and stuff like this and Unbreakable, and Signs. Like, fuck, man. You're
Yeah.
on a fucking run, dude.
Yeah.
You need to go back to whatever you were doing back then. That needs to be your mentality. But then again, when filmmakers get successful, they're not as hungry. You see that. I
Well,
feel like I've said it on this podcast before that the only filmmaker who seems to still be as hungry as he was back in the day is Martin Scorsese. Everybody else seems to have gotten comfortable with their big fat paychecks and shit like that, and Scorsese is the one that always seems like he just has a dog in the fight. Like he won't quit. But again, that's a discussion for another time. But I'm talking shit, so I think it's time that we hop on over to our next category, the shit. Here in the shit, we talk about the things we don't like about the movie. And I don't know, just given the general consensus of the last section, something tells me we probably won't be here too long. I'll start it off. I have one note. There is a moment where Cole's mom is talking to another mom at the birthday party, and Cole's mom mentions Chuck E. Cheese, and the mom says, Chuck E. who? And I don't care how posh or how well off you are. If you are a parent, you know what the fuck Chuck E. Cheese is, because it is the thing that keeps parents awake at night. It is hell, and you never want to go there. So, yes, that's my one note. The parent would know what the fuck Chuck E. Cheese is. All right. You would hear about it and talked about in dark alleyways and whispered in your nightmares. Gentlemen, any negative things that you want to spat out about The Sixth Sense?
Well, that was the only one I had. I was like, that's bullshit.
Yep. I'm glad I'm not alone there. Kalen, anything?
There's a scene where Malcolm's wife is showering and it gets not enough screen time. I'm sorry. Every time we have a movie that's so good that I don't have a note, I feel like I have to make a joke. I guess there was a little more sleep talking than I felt like was super realistic. But the movie's so good, I don't give a shit. But like his mom is like, "What's happening to you? What's happening to you? I'll kick their ass."
I'll
and I'm
kick
like,
their ass. Yeah.
Yeah, people don't sleep talk like that usually.
No.
And then also the plot also relied on his wife sleep talking a little bit more than I think most people sleep talk. So
Yeah.
I thought that hurt verisimilitude a very small amount, but it's a movie about talking to ghosts, so people are allowed to sleep talk, I guess.
Yeah. There was like one or two things that as I was watching, I can't even remember them now, but as I was watching, I was like, well, I don't know about that. And then I was like, really? Really? In a movie with this premise, that's going to be it? That's the hill you're going to die on? All right, fellas. Well, unless we have any other random thoughts, yes, no, maybe so. Then we are on to truly terrifying tidbits. Gentlemen, do we consider this a horror movie?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
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 Even though it's heartfelt and it's sweet and it's cute and all that, it's a scary ghost story.
Dad, what about you?
I wouldn't think of it as a horror movie,
No.
but I can understand what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't disagree with it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me personally, it's a great story that's scary.
I would put it in, it's a subgenre of, horror's up here, and you have splintering off things like, ghost story, gothic horror, da 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 da. it's down. It's splintering off, or it's thriller horror for sure.
Well, look, horror can be kind of broad, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
There's an umbrella of the word horror.
So I think in a broad sense, I do think it's a horror movie. It's just when you say horror movie, this isn't exactly the kind of movie you think of.
Absolutely not. And also because it has such a broad appeal, so many people saw it that I think a lot of people would be hesitant to be like, oh yeah, that I really enjoyed that horror movie. Like your general like movie going person, back in the day at least, people are very hesitant to say that they like horror movies or went to see them. But there's just a vibe of uneasiness about this movie from the start. And I do find that some of my favorite horror movies start with an uneasy feeling and leave me feeling uncomfortable throughout. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of them. The Exorcist is one of them. Get Out is one of them. I remember the first time I saw Get Out, I was uncomfortable right from the very beginning and really very much like the character wanted to get out of that movie theater because it was just not the place to be. Gentlemen, what do we think the scariest scene in the movie is?
When they walk by the hanging,
The hanging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's standing there and he's frozen. He can't move, and something's there, but you don't know what it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think for me, it's probably when I think the first ghost we see is the woman in the kitchen. He's like, "Mom." And that woman turns around and screams at him. I think as a child, that scene really fucked me up.
Yeah. I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's necessarily like outright the scariest, but like I think the most disturbing scene to me, it really has always bothers me. The reveal that it's the mother poisoning the daughter. Like that's really uncomfortable for me. I really don't like
Dark.
seeing that, or the fact that the father who's just distraught over this is finding out that his wife was killing his daughter and is apparently killing their other daughter, because there's that line of how the other little girl is not doing so well right now either. You hear that kind of talked about amongst the people at the wake. Just you see that picture of all of them on the wall, the family, and in my mind, and I mean, this is like a Mandela effect thing where I think I subconsciously told myself that it was a stepmother doing it, and in watching this, they say nothing about a stepmother.
Yeah, no, it's her mom.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just think that's really fucked up, and I don't like to think about a world where we live in a world where parents kill their children, but it's not what I go to the fucking movies for. I tell you that. So that's my scene. Fuck, that got really depressing really fast. So let's get the fuck out of truly terrifying tidbits and head on over to the rewatch. Here on the rewatch, we discuss the film's rewatchability, some of our favorite moments from the flick, and rate its overall entertainment value. Now, Dad, if you had to convince someone to sit down and watch The Sixth Sense in its entirety, and you only had one scene to do it, what would that scene be? It's your YouTube scene. I feel like I have this feeling like all three of us are probably going to have the same moment because it's kind of the moment, but what would it be?
For me, it's where Malcolm is asking Cole if there's anything change about your life, anything you could do different or something like that. What would it be? And he says, "Can it be something that I don't want?" And he says, "I don't want to be scared anymore." And then Malcolm says, "I'm working on it."
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
That's great. That's a great.
That's a great scene.
That's a really great scene. Kalen?
Be the New Kid on the Block. The opening with Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually, it's a great pick.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with the obvious one. I See Dead People. There it is.
Right.
Cool. And gentlemen, do we have a favorite scene that we would like to speak of? Dad, I feel like you might have mentioned yours. Was it
Yeah.
the car scene?
Yeah.
Kalen, what about you?
Well, I'm going to shout out this scene just because we didn't talk about it earlier, and I feel like it's important. There's a scene where his mom comes into the room and she says, "What did you do today?" Or he says, "What did you do today?" And she says, "I won the lottery and went swimming in the fountain, quit all my jobs."
Mm-hmm.
And then he says he got picked first for kickball and he hit the winning goal and all the kids lifted him up on their shoulders and cheered. I love that scene. That's a very resonant scene for me. And then it's paid off at the end of the movie. He plays King Arthur in the play and he draws the sword and all the other kids pick him up on their shoulders and cheer. I just love that kind of tight writing. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked how well those scenes paired together. I found myself thinking, watching it this time, that scene where him and his mom are talking, like how lofty her ideas of what a great day were.
Mm-hmm.
You
And
know,
how humble his were, right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
again, how that just really makes you fall in love with this kid to the nth degree that all he wants to be is accepted. And you see it on his mom's face when he says it too. It's just like how simple, what simple little things it would take to bring joy to this boy's life. Fuck, man. You guys didn't leave me shit. Dude, I really do. That opening scene is great. It's really a masterclass in suspense and uh, sympathy too for all the characters involved. You really do feel bad for everyone involved in that opening scene. And honestly, I like all the scenes that Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment are in together. The scene where Bruce Willis does the penny thing, I think is great.
That's
As
fantastic.
is the scene where, very well directed scene of the questions and moving close to the chair and away from
Yes.
the chair. I thought very well done scene. I really enjoyed that scene. And what do we think of the cameo for M. Night Shyamalan in this one? How are we rating this? Is it a good cameo? Are we up here with like Signs, or down here with the what's our lowest
I'm actually
scale?
trying to think. Oh, well, you really hated the Lady in the Water one.
Yeah, I didn't want. I was gonna say that, but I don't want to
Yeah,
say that as like
that's
the
okay.
thing. But
It could be
you
the
know,
thing.
Signs and Lady in the Water. Where are we?
I thought it was good. It was
Yeah, I
simple.
I I thought so
Yeah.
too. Didn't bother me at all. I thought it was a good cameo for a director. Apparently, Shyamalan hated it. He said he didn't like it at all, and he cut out a good chunk of it. He had a bit more to do in it apparently, but he cut it out. I was like, "Why, dude? It's like pretty easy going one." Dad, any thoughts on M. Night Shyamalan's cameo in the movie?
Um, I thought it was okay, but he didn't seem like a doctor to me.
Yeah,
You know.
that's fair. Apparently, all of his family are doctors. That's why he decided to cameo as the doctor. He has lots of doctors in his family. So, but hey, that just shows that he's truly a creative person. Not believable as a doctor. And rewatch value. Do we consider this film insanely rewatchable? A yearly rewatch? Good time at the movies? Take it or leave it? Or one and done? I think this is a little bit hard given the criteria that I've placed in front of myself and the two of you. Because while I don't necessarily find this movie insanely rewatchable, or necessarily do I find myself rewatching it yearly, I think with a movie that has this massive reveal at the end, it still manages to be incredibly rewatchable, as we discussed, that there's still a great film to be had with great performances. So I'm leaning towards insanely rewatchable, even though I don't rewatch it all the time. When I do rewatch it, I'm clearly still very impressed with it.
Yeah, I think this kind of defies your criteria a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think if you ask me, is this a rewatchable movie? I would say, yeah, it's insanely rewatchable. But I'm not going to rewatch this movie multiple times a year.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: it's a great film that I will always come back to this movie.
Yeah.
I'll always come back to it, and I will always appreciate it when I come back to it and be like, God damn, that's a great movie. So, yeah. I don't see myself rewatching it. I don't even see myself rewatching it every year. But it is something that will always be something I revisit. I will always have plans to revisit in the future.
1000%. Dad, what about you? How many times have you seen this movie?
I've seen it probably about 4 or 5.
That's fair.
And I agree with Kalen. I think I definitely wouldn't watch this movie every year because I think the draw is like all of you said. I forgot that this happened. I forgot that this happened. Right, and that's it for me. There's still parts of it. You know what the twist is at the end, but you see all these other things, and you're like, I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd be thinking maybe every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Like I said, I think this is only my 3rd time watching it. I remember the first time I actually watched it with you, Dad. I can't remember I think we watched this and then we ended up watching Unbreakable very, very shortly after this, which
Yeah.
Kalen and I are both that's kind of like our fucking movie. So we adore Unbreakable here on the Jony Horror Podcast.
Yeah, we are the acolytes of Unbreakable here.
Yeah,
yeah.
1000%.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, it really is. Well, speaking of great movies, let's fucking finish this shit up, fellas. In our final category, the Jony Horror Score. Here at the Jony Horror Score, we discuss the response to the film, its legacy, and give our final thoughts and rankings. So, first and foremost, the response to the film. The Sixth Sense had a production budget of approximately $40 million plus $25 million, give or take, for advertising. During its opening weekend, the film grossed $26.6 million, making it the largest August opening weekend, surpassing The Fugitive that was released in 1993. It would go on to hold this record for 2 years until it was overtaken by Rush Hour 2 in 2001. The film spent 5 weeks at the number 1 place in the box office, becoming only the second film after Titanic to have grossed more than $20 million for each 5 weekends. The Sixth Sense set the record for having the largest Labor Day weekend gross until 2007, when it was surpassed by Rob Zombie's Halloween. During Labor Day, it made $6.3 million, making it the biggest September Monday gross, holding the record until it was beaten by It in 2017. It grossed $293 million in the United States and Canada, surpassing The Empire Strikes Back as the 10th highest grossing film of all time at that time in the market.
I'm sorry, you said that's on like a $35 million budget?
Yeah.
And it grossed almost $300 million, and that's just domestic.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a success.
This is snitching.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but fire the guy who
Fire
brought
the
us that
guy.
far.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Fire
Don't
that
even
guy
bring him
who's
back
just
on board.
getting you piles and piles of money. Jesus.
And then without him on the payroll, we get more money from his salary. So thank you for all the money, Vogel.
Thanks.
The Sixth Sense received critical acclaim, with Osmond's performance receiving high praise in particular. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 86% based on reviews from 166 critics, with an average rating of 7.70 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads, M. Night Shyamalan's Sixth Sense is a twisty ghost story with all the style of a classical Hollywood picture, but all the chills of a modern horror flick. Metacritic rated it 64 out of 100 based on 35 reviews, meaning generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A- on an A+ to F scale. Our boy Roger Ebert awarded the film 3 out of 4 stars and was particularly impressed with Osmond's performance, writing Haley Joel Osment, his young co-star, his being Bruce Willis, is a very good actor in a film where his character possibly has more lines than anyone else. He's in the most scenes and he has to act in them. This isn't a role for a cute kid who can stand there and look solemn in reaction shots. There are fairly involved dialogue passages between Willis and Osmond that require good timing, reactions, and the ability to listen. Osmond is more than equal to them, and although the tendency is to notice how good he is, not every adult actor can play heavy dramatic scenes with a kid and not seem to condescend, or even worse, to subtly coach him and lead him. Willis can. Those scenes give the movie its weight and make it as convincing as under the circumstances it can possibly be. Sorry, that was a little bit wordy for me there, Mr. Ebert, but I do think he is kind of right across the board with all of that stuff and just saying all the stuff that we already said.
Sorry,
stupid.
you Sorry, you cut out there for a second. You said under the circumstances that could.
He said, yeah, that those scenes give the movie its weight and make it as convincing as under the circumstances it can possibly be.
Okay.
Just saying, for a ghost story, it's
Right.
believable.
It's as believable as they can do. Yeah. Right on.
The film was nominated for 6 Oscars, including Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, Best Screenplay, Best Editing, and I had Best Director on there twice. So whatever the other one that they were nominated for is a mystery. While the picture came home empty-handed from the prestigious award ceremony, it was, in 2013, ranked by the Writers Guild of America as number 50 out of 101 of the best screenplays ever written, and included on New York Magazine's 2020 list of the best films that lost Best Picture at the Oscars. I don't remember what won in 1999.
Was it American Beauty?
Yes, it was.
Was it? Okay.
Let me see. I'm almost positive that you're right.
That feels like that's what it was, but I could be wrong. It's quite some time ago.
Oh, no. No, fuck. Dude, it was Shakespeare in Love, dude. Fuck that.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's bad, man.
Wow.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Same.
Well, with that in mind, it's time to give our final thoughts. Dad, what are your final thoughts on The Sixth Sense, and give your ranking out of 10?
Well, I think those all those reviews are low,
Agreed.
and I wonder why. I wonder if because it does fall in the horror genre, right?
Yeah, I
And
think
that
that
turns
has
a lot
to.
of people off.
Yeah.
So I think if you say it's not a horror film, And then you can rate it higher.
Yeah.
I would say it's a 9.5 maybe. And I think I'm being low.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of right there with you. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, it's hard to just be like, this is a 10 out of 10 movie for me. I think Kalen and I have both discussed this. This is also really hard for me to be like, oh yeah, this is like a 3 out of 10 movie for me, because there are just so many movies that are like maximum and the worst, But I can't find anything to critique about this movie. I enjoy this movie. It's well written, well acted, well directed, well edited, well paced. Why shouldn't this movie be a 10 out of 10? Just because I'm not always going back to it. We've already discussed that this is the type of movie that you sit on for a while. And when you do go back to it, you find yourself being surprised again and treated to something special.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm right there with you. This is a 9.5, if not just a full blown 10 for me.
Yeah.
Kalen, bring her home.
I mean, you just said it, Johnny. I didn't come into this wanting to give this any particular rating. Like, I didn't come into my rewatch wanting to feel any particular way about it, but I feel like if I didn't give this movie a 10, I would be being dishonest and kind of try hard, to be honest with you. Having just watched this last night, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect movie. Like this movie does everything it's trying to do exactly as well as it wants to do it. It is masterful. It is a level that Shyamalan does not get to anymore. So for the sake of honesty, I have to give it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're all pretty much there,
Yeah.
So I think it's safe to say for the Johnny Horror podcast that we're just going to go ahead and give this a 10 out of 10. Because I think all the people here could be persuaded to give it a 0.5 if a gun was to our heads. So I think we're all pretty much there, and I had a lot of fun revisiting this movie, and I had a lot of fun discussing it with the two of you. But before we go, as we do, I'd like to pose the question: if you were going to feature The Sixth Sense at the Johnny Horror Drive-In, and you had to double feature it with another picture, what would that movie be, Kalen?
There was a movie that came out, I think it was this January. It was written by David Koepp and it was directed by Steven Soderbergh. It's called Presence, and it's a ghost story that takes place inside of a house, just one location, one camera, shot on like a small cell phone size camera. Soderbergh was also the DP. They shot it in like 3 weeks, and it's just this excellent little ghost story. I think it's a great double feature here.
It fucking is, especially if you like there's a reveal at the end of that movie that's pretty darn good too.
Yep.
Dad, what about you?
Well, I was thinking about this because you just mentioned it to me before we started talking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'd have to go with Donnie Darko.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great pick. That's great. And very much of the time, too. Did Donnie
I had the same
Darko's
thought. 2000?
2001? Yeah. I find that's a great pairing. I love that. Both of those are great. I myself went a little bit more I don't know. I was thinking of movies. I initially was like, all right, what's another good movie with a twist that I really like? And then I was like, what's another good movie with a twist that I find has very fall sort of gothic vibes, and it's not a ghost story, but deals with two very obsessive men, and wonderfully acted, written, and directed, and that is Christopher Nolan's The Prestige.
Mm.
And I think that's a great film, and I think that would make a wonderful pairing. I think I would have to do The Sixth Sense first, and then probably round it out with The Prestige. But yeah, so I think that's it. I think that'd be a fun little get together. We lost
Good
Kalen
pick.
here.
I think so.
There he is. Hey, you're back.
Hey, sorry, I didn't think I had any kind of internet issue. That's weird.
No, you're good. Now you're just on the bottom.
I'm on top now.
He's the new co-host.
Darn it.
All right, fellas. Well, this was a lot of fun. Thank you both for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. And holy crap, we made it. We are finished with our run of M. Night Shyamalan. So looking forward, I think we are. Kalen, what did we talk about doing? We talked about doing.
We're gonna try to have Matt on the show.
We're gonna try and have Matt on the show to discuss his film.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that and Frankenstein are our next things that we will be discussing. So, you guys have that to look forward to. And we get to look forward to talking about movies other than M. Night Shyamalan now. So I'm very excited about that. Dad, thank you so much for joining us. This is fun. Thank you for putting up with all of my nonsensical questions. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with Kalen and I tonight. We appreciate
It's
it.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us here at the Jony Horror Podcast. We really enjoy having these discussions, and we hope that you look forward to hearing us have them. But until the next time, you kids be good to each other, be half-decent human beings, and we will see you motherfuckers on the flip side. Adios, muchachos.
Peace.